What's up, guys? This is Dennis with Luke's and Jewelry. So, in episode 1, I talked to you guys about how I got introduced into jewelry in the first place. Episode 2, I talked to you about how and why I worked for free for one single year. And in this episode, I'm going to share with you guys a few details on our first sales at the swap meet on our own. No mentor, no help, and how we did. So, with that, let's get started. Now, when my wife and I decided to step out on our own at the swap meets, we had no idea what we were stepping into. Up until then, remember, guys, I was used to having someone guide me, stepping in if I got stuck, even closing the sales for me. But now it was just us. No backup, no safety net, just me and my wife, a small booth with a handful of silver pieces and the pressure to figure it out. And listen, we were still broke. I was still working the factory job, working minimum wage. There was times I wanted to take my wife out to a nice restaurant and I couldn't. We just didn't have the money to. But to run a booth, we had to invest. We bought a tent, some tablecloth, paid for the booth rent, and just scraped enough money together to buy some silver jewelry, which at that time was just a handful of pieces. And to anyone else, it might have not looked like much, but to us, it was everything. We literally took out everything we had just to buy that tent, the tablecloth. It was just so basic, but the routine was rough. The night before, we would pack the car with displays, table, and the little jewelry that we had. We would then wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning, grab a donut and some coffee, and just drive half awake to the swap meet. By the time the sun was up, we were setting up our booth, trying to make it look different from all the other jewelry vendors. We had different colors, different displays, anything to just stand out. And later in the day, the same sun would be hitting us in the face for hours. By the time the swap meet ended, we were completely drained. I honestly have a love-hate with those memories. They were exciting because we were building something together, but there were also some of the hardest days of our lives. Once the swap meet came alive, it was time to hustle, and the swap meets were loud. Vendors were shouting deals, trying to pull people into their booth. And man, I honestly remember these times. They were so fun. It was so exciting. So I would start doing the same thing. I will yell out plata, which is silver in Spanish. And when we were selling matching wedding rings, I would shout aquí los casamos, saying, we'll marry you right here. People will laugh. People would just come to the booth and just start a conversation with us. Even though they didn't buy anything, they'd stop and just show us some love, and we would be able to at least show them some jewelry pieces as well. And across from me was this vendor selling women's clothes. He would sell underwear, bras, and all the other stuff. He'd scream ropa de interior de Shakira, saying it's Shakira's underwear. It sounds wild, but that was what the swap meet was. It was loud, it was fun, it was chaotic, and honestly, it was amazing. Like, I had so much fun just interacting with people and just being on my own and kind of just screaming in the aisles as well, and having fun at the same time. But let me be real with you, it wasn't all laughs, it wasn't all fun. There were plenty of days that we lost money. The booth space cost around $75 back then, and some of those days we didn't even make enough money to cover that. And those were the hardest days, packing up everything after standing on our feet since 4 a.m., the sun beating you down all day, leaving at 5:30, getting home around 6:30, completely wiped out, and knowing that we lost money and we did not make our money back. And that's when doubt hit us the loudest. We would say, like, was it worth it? Or we're just wasting our time? Should we continue? And just like that, in episode 1, those old thoughts came back. What if someone from middle school and high school sees me here and say, hey, what are you doing for work? Did you graduate college? Are you selling here? What is this, your full-time job? And you know what? One day it happened. A girl I knew came by and says, wow, you sell here. And I said, yeah, this is my business. And she laughed and said, your business? And she tried to kind of cover it up, saying like, oh, that's good for you. You can tell it was fake. And I remember those feelings. It really beat me up in a way. So I kind of went home down that day, but I honestly tried my best to keep pushing forward. And that's when I told myself, I'm gonna keep showing up. I'm gonna keep doing my best and not giving up, and really not caring about what other people think. At the end of the day, they're not paying my bills. They're not helping me grow in any way. And again, I just kind of reminded myself about the fear aspect. Those are just lies, and I need to keep pressing forward. And it's funny because even though money was tight, the little wins meant everything to us. I remember telling my wife on a decent day, let's go grab something to eat. And just being able to say that was worth it. To go grab a nice lunch, that felt like a victory. We weren't making much, but what we were gaining was priceless. Learning to talk to customers, figuring out what people liked and what they didn't like, learning how to operate an actual business. And slowly people started noticing us. They came back week after week. They started to trust us, and eventually we even expanded to 2 more swap meet locations, and we were selling in 3 different markets. We weren't rolling in profits and buying Lamborghinis or anything, but most of the time after booth rent, there wasn't much left. But the experience, the knowledge, the toughness we built, that was worth way more than the money. Now, looking back, I wouldn't trade those days for anything. The 4 a.m. mornings, the donuts, the coffee, the sun burning on your face every single time, the yelling across the aisles, which was fun, by the way, the slow days, the losses, the laughs, the doubts. All of it was part of the story, a part of the process, the learning curve. So if you're starting small, maybe you feel broke, maybe people are doubting you, maybe you're doubting yourself, don't quit. Those humble beginnings are shaping you in ways you can't even see yet. So I hope you like this episode 3. I'm going to be sharing episode 4, the biggest lessons I have taken from this journey, the wins, the setbacks, and the truth that still guide me today. So, guys, thank you for watching episode 3, and I'll see you in episode 4.